Hello, Frida.
Yeah, yes, Barbara.
What am I supposed to do?
Let's start the meeting and then we'll do that thing after transition.
Okay.
Welcome to African Women in Decentralized Finance Faucet. In Africa, women play a critical role in driving social progress. They not only manage households, but also contribute significantly to economic activities, often in informal sectors. Despite their invaluable contributions, over 60% of women remain unbanked, facing obstacles in accessing financial tools and resources. Women are the custodians of One Health, a concept that recognizes the interconnectedness of human, animal, and environmental health. For a baby to be born healthy, the mother's well-being is pivotal. Financial empowerment becomes a catalyst for this well-being, enabling women to afford nutritious diets, access healthcare services, and create an environment conducive to a healthy pregnancy and upbringing. Empowering women financially is a crucial step in disease prevention. With resources at their disposal, women can invest in better animal health care, improved cooking facilities, and hygienic practices, reducing the risk of disease. Financially empowered women can also invest in better sanitation, cleaner water sources, and improved housing conditions. This not only enhances immediate living conditions, but also contributes to long-term environmental sustainability and community health. Financial empowerment opens doors to education for women and their children. With access to resources, women can ensure their children receive quality education, breaking generational cycles of poverty and fostering a more prosperous society. Join us every Tuesday for our Learn to Earn sessions, where we empower women through DeFi, providing them with the tools and knowledge to transform their financial futures. Empowering women, transforming communities. Together, we can make a difference. Join our Learn to Earn programs every Tuesday. Check our website.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, and thank you for joining this our session. This being the third session of Circle 5. Thank you. So today we'll be discussing unlocking financial inclusion, DeFi tools for women entrepreneurs in Africa. So the discussion will be covering the role of DeFi in supporting women entrepreneurs. The other point is accessible DeFi tools that women can use for savings, loans, and investments. And also, we are going to look on the challenges and solution for women in accessing DeFi platforms. So let me take you through our agenda for today. First, we'll have the topic presentation by Matthew Rotuk, sorry. I will be taking us through our today's topic, and then after that we'll have additional notes and comments regarding the topic by our own CEO of Actuate Biomedicine, Dr. Masharia Waruingi. And then after that, we'll have an interactive session between members. Feel free to ask questions, share your comments regarding the topic. And then after that, we'll have Diana Mundi will be giving us the updates on Actuate pre-Boston Summit, and then after that, I'll do the closing remarks. So with that, allow me to welcome our topic master for today, Matthew Rotuk. Matthew, you are welcome.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Yes, hello. So today we are going to discuss as far as women in DeFi is concerned. So the title is Unlocking Financial Inclusion. DeFi tools for women entrepreneurs in Africa. So so as far as the title is concerned, we are going to dwell on as topic one, the role of DeFi in supporting women entrepreneurs. So decentralized finance is revolutionizing access to financial services for women entrepreneurs in Africa by addressing traditional barriers such as limited access to capital, banking services, and collateral collateral. And here are how DeFi supports women in entrepreneurs. So number one, we have the accessibility and inclusivity. DeFi tools operate on blockchain, enabling anyone with internet access to participate. This is crucial for women in underserved areas with limited access to formal banking. We also have the microloans and credit. DeFi platforms offer microloans without requiring traditional credit scores or collateral. Smart contracts ensure transport and secure transportation, empowering women entrepreneurs to secure funding. Lower transition costs. DeFi reduces cost by eliminating intermediaries. This allows women to manage funds, send remittances, and grow their businesses more efficient. Four, we have the financial education. Many DeFi platforms incorporate educational tools, helping women entrepreneurs build financial literacy and make informed investment decisions. Five, we have the global market access. DeFi connects entrepreneurs with global investors, opening opportunities for cross-border funding and partnership. Topic two, we are going to dwell on accessible DeFi tools that women can use for savings, loans, and investments. Decentralized finance tools are transforming financial inclusion by providing women entrepreneurs in Africa with innovative solutions for savings, loans, and investments. So here are some accessible DeFi tools that support these needs. One, we have the savings platforms. Crypto saving accounts, platforms like Eve and Compound enable women to deposit funds and interest on stablecoins, cryptocurrencies pegged to fiat currencies. These accounts offer higher returns than traditional banks without requiring a bank account. Mobile-based DeFi wallets. Applications like Trust Wallet and MetaMask provide user-friendly interfaces for managing services securely. Also, we have the lending and borrowing. Tools like Celo and MakerDAO allow women entrepreneurs to access loans directly from global lenders without needing collateral or high credit scores. Smart contracts automate and secure the process. Topic 3, we are going to discuss the success stories of African women leveraging DeFi for their businesses. So DeFi has enabled African women entrepreneurs to access financial opportunity previously out of reach, fostering business growth and economic empowerment. And here are some success stories. One, rural artisan expands global reach. Explanation. A group of women artisans in Kenya use Celo to access microloans and sell their handmade crafts on international platforms. The low-cost transactions and access to a global market allowed them to scale their operations and increase profits significantly. Point number 2. agripreneurs using blockchain lending women farmers in Nigeria leverage goldfinch for microloans to invest in sustainable farming practices. These loans facilitated through DeFi improved crop yields and supported the transition to eco-friendly methods, boosting their income. Point number 3, women traders thriving through yield farming. In South Africa, women traders participated in EVE's yield farming opportunities, earning passive income from their savings. The returns were reinvested in small retail business, driving local economic development. Microloans platforms. Projects like Goldfinch specialize in providing microloans to underserved populations, empowering women with the capital to expand their business. Point number 3, investment opportunities. Yield farming and staking. Platforms such as Land Finance allow women to invest and earn passive income through staking or yield farming, which generates returns by locking up cryptocurrencies. Tokenization investments. DeFi enables fractional ownership of assets like real estate or small business through tokenization. This lowers the entry barrier for women investors. Point number 4, we have the financial education and onboarding tools. Apps like Coinbase, Learn, and Binance Academy provide free localized education to help women understand and use DeFi tools effectively. So we're going also to discuss why these tools are accessible. Mobile integration. Many DeFi platforms are accessible via smartphone, making making the making the ideal for women in rural areas. Low fees and inclusive policies. DeFi eliminates intermediaries, reducing costs and making these tools affordable. We also have the global connectivity. Women can access global markets and opportunities, bypassing local financial limitations. Point 4, digital startups funded through crowdlending. A Ghanaian technician entrepreneur accessed funding through Mecca DAO's lending ecosystem to launch an and technical startup by securing funds without collateral. She was able to grow her platform, which now educates hundreds of children in underserved areas. And last but not the least, we're going to also dwell topic 4, which state as challenges and solutions for women in accessing DeFi platforms. While DeFi presents tremendous opportunities for women entrepreneurs in Africa, there are significant challenges they face in accessing these platforms. And here are some challenges and potential solutions. So we're going to begin on challenges. Challenge number 1 is limited digital literacy. Many women lack the technical knowledge required to navigate DeFi platforms, including understanding blockchain, wallets, and smart contracts. Point number 2, access to technology. Limited access to smartphone, reliable internet, and electricity in rural areas hinders participation in DeFi. Point number 3, trust and awareness. DeFi is still a new concept for many, and women entrepreneurs may be skeptical or unaware of its benefits. Second last, we have the regulatory barriers. Inconsistent or unclear regulations around cryptocurrency in some African countries can discourage women from exploring decentralized finance. Last point is gender bias. Socio-cultural norms and gender bias can limit women's participation in financial decision making and technology adoption. So solutions. Point number 1, digital education and training. Initiatives like Binance Academy or Selo Foundations outreach programs can educate women on DeFi tools and blockchain technology in local languages. Point number 2, have the subsidized access to technology. Partnerships with NGOs and technical companies can provide affordable devices and in turn services to underserved communities. Point number 3, community-based support. Women-focused decentralized finance communities like African Women in FinTech and Blockchain offer mentorship and peer support to build confidence and trust in the ecosystem. Point number 4, advocacy for clear regulations. Advocacy for inclusive, crypto-friendly regulations can create a safer environment for women to engage in DeFi. This marks the end of our today's Women in DeFi discussion. So back to you, Dolphin.
Okay, thank you, Matthew, for taking us through today's topics. Thank you so much. Yeah, so meanwhile, if anyone has any question regarding our today's topic, which is unlocking financial inclusion, you can be sending down your question on our chat box down below your screen, or if you have any comments on the topic, on our topic for today, you can also do so. So thank you, Matthew, once again. So with that, allow me to welcome our CEO of Actuate Biomedicine, Dr. Macharia Ruingi, to give his additional points and also comments regarding our today's topic. Dr. You are welcome.
All right, so Dolphin, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Well, thank you so much, Matthew. Matthew wrote excellent financial inclusion for women. See, as we have said before, many times over, that decentralized finance or DeFi is the technology for financial inclusion for women. That we can say without guile, without even boasting, because it is true. Decentralized finance. Now you know why, after so many conversations, that centralized finance is made to exclude women. You see, because in the centralized finance, there is nowhere in the balance sheet of the centralized finance that you can put an entry of the value of the work of a woman. So the value that the work that woman produces is not accountable. You cannot account the value of motherhood in a centralized finance system. There is no such thing. Okay, this is what the value that a woman gives to you as your mother. You are not going to see that in your bank account. You cannot take that to the bank. Oh, my mother is so great, I can take that to the bank. Like people say, you can take that to the bank. You cannot take the value of the work of a woman to the bank in a centralized finance. Can you believe it? And how did we get there? How did we get there? For centuries, we have lived that way. It's an anathema. You know what's anathema? Something abhorrent, something distasteful, disgusting. It's that women who produces the most value in this planet, we cannot account for that value until decentralized finance came along. And people, let's call them the high priests of centralized finance. They still do not want us to understand that. So they come out all the way to attack DeFi by all means possible. All means they think it's necessary to attack and dethrone decentralized finance. The point is, it's not even possible to dethrone decentralized finance, because decentralized finance, as the name suggests or indicates, it is decentralized. Something decentralized cannot be debased. You see, for you to overthrow something, it has to have a base. So you can debase, and that means they have to be in control of the base. The base now is decentralized, DeFi. And what makes this possible? What this makes possible, a decentralized finance, first of all, with technology that is on the blockchain. You all know, cryptocurrency, it's called in other words. And you access it through your cell phone. Everybody today, every family today has got a cell phone. Not just me or a few people, but the cell phone is ubiquitous. It has managed to permeate into every household. And if the cell phone has permeated into every household, then, and the finance now, the decentralized finance is accessible through the cell phone, that means that we go actively working to make sure that everybody who has got a cell phone is in the decentralized finance. Now, households are families, they're made of families. Family include husband, wife, and the children. And that means they live in a homestead. That homestead has got a cell phone, whether it's a smartphone or the older type of phone called USSD or the feature phone. You are able to get on to decentralized finance. It can access blockchain, like what Silo Foundation and people in Silo are doing. So that said, that instead of the centralized finance people dethroning decentralized finance, they are the ones who have been dethroned. And what I want to say today is that something that you all need to know, that for you to participate in decentralized finance, you must understand how to create a liquidity pool. If you don't know what a liquidity pool is, now it's time for you to learn every single day until it becomes second nature. Because what Matthew has told us today, you cannot participate in that inclusiveness except if you understand what's a liquidity pool and how it operates. Because the liquidity pool is the inner sanctum, or what's called the Holy of Holies. Remember those high priests in Solomon's temple? Was it the high priest? Was it Solomon? Someone like that. There was only one priest who was the highest priest who could go to the inner sanctum, into the Holy of Holies. And the job for that priest was to intercede for you as a sinner, of course, to God by performing certain rituals, sacrifices. They would sacrifice bulls and goats and spill the blood on the mercy seat so that the Father in heaven can have mercy upon you. It's the same thing now with the centralized finance. The centralized finance, they are those high priests of centralized finance. They live in capital cities, in a place called Wall Street or the capital markets. That's where they live. They live in capital markets. Remember, these are just other human beings. They are not some strange creatures coming from somewhere else. They're human beings who have anointed themselves to become the high priest of finance. And they say they're the one in charge of all of us. and they're the ones who cook. You know, they cook, or maybe they don't even cook. I mean, they're offering burnt sacrifice. They are the one who have to, you know, slaughter that sacrificial lamb or even a goat, and then spill the blood on the mercy seat so that the financial system can have mercy upon us. See? So these are high priests of finance. And you see, they have done this for centuries. And in their philosophy or their ethos, in a way of administering that finance, that administration of the financial system, there's no room for women. It you could say is a totally patriarchal system. There is no room for women. Women are not included. It's precisely like it was in those days of King Solomon. There was no woman who could become high priests. Yeah. Because they had either women or were to stay in another court outside the court that was outside. So they were actually 3 stages away from the inner sanctum, the Holy of Holies. You cannot, as a woman, you could not get into the Holy of Holies whether you like it or not. Why? Because you're a woman. Yeah, you cannot go and sacrifice the bulls, you know, slaughter the bulls and spill the blood on the mercy seat. That job was not to be done by any woman. And even the people who were in the second court, which is close to the Holy of Holies, there could never be a woman there. Women were sitting in a third court somewhere outside there, and they could sit even together with the Gentiles. Remember, those were the other people who are not supposed to be in. they were not supposed to be in the holy places. So women were considered to be unholy, and that is what we are talking about. In the centralized finance, women are unholy. Unholy means that in the banking system, women are considered unprofitable, that they are not a source of profit. And I'm not telling you this just as a situation in Africa itself, even in the United States, until recently. As a woman, even in the US, if you wanted to buy a house, get a mortgage to buy a house. And this I can tell you, even still today, even certain banks are doing the same. As a woman, you could not get a mortgage alone. You had to get a cosigner. You had to get a male person, you know, to come and co-sign the mortgage for you. That is true even in certain states, even today. Yeah. And of course, when you see, America is supposed to be the most advanced nation, even in gender equity. But yeah, that's America. What about the banking system? Is it the same as America? No. So there are certain financial institutions. As a woman, when you approach them for financing, like you want to borrow money for long-term financing alone, they are going to ask you to bring a cosigner. And this cosigner cannot be your mother. This cosigner cannot be your sister. This cosigner cannot be your auntie. This cosigner cannot be your girlfriend, a woman friend. Yeah. So long as it's a woman, this cannot be a cosigner. And we're talking about 2024. So if this thing is still there in the United States, why is it that we think that even places like in Africa, where the banking system is quite recent, it's going to be different? Now that is how serious it is. Things like mortgages, like buying houses, which are maybe low capital, personal investments which are long term. When you go to say that you want to complete a mortgage, first of all, yeah, you enter into the bank and then you're frowned upon by those people, the people in the bank. That's what you're talking about, that getting access to that place, the inner sanctum of finance, has not been possible until the decentralized finance came along. Now, decentralized finance has even advanced even more than when it was when Satoshi Nakamoto was creating Bitcoin in 2008. Because people have worked over the last 10, 14 years to create new technologies like Uniswap, PancakeSwap, and SushiSwap, and the like, which gives you absolute complete freedom to gain access to high finance through your cell phone. And that high finance is through the Uniswap or PancakeSwap, where you can create a liquidity pool and start saving money. Now you can do on PancakeSwap, you can do the same things that people in high finance have been doing, preventing you from, let alone people in the periphery finance, like in the small commercial banks. You can perform functions that people in high finance, who are called investment bankers, do every single day on a place called PancakeSwap. Yeah. And if you do not know how to do that, you better know it now, because this technology is here. And that is known as, one, creating liquidity pools. You can create a liquidity pool all on your own. And when you create a liquidity pool, you provide liquidity, or you provide capital that can be used for development. That means people can borrow from you. When you provide liquidity, you actually start earning what's called passive income, like what Matthew has said. And we have talked here time and again on how to create a liquidity pool right now, and we want to continue talking about that until it becomes second nature to you. Being able to create a liquidity pool should be automatic. It is not something that you should be hearing about like foreign language. Being able to create a liquidity pool should be second nature. That your nature, you're you, and then your liquidity pool is your second nature. You must be able to do that for you, because the curtain of the temple has been split wide open. And now creating a liquidity pool is access to that inner sanctum of finance, where they were spilling blood on the master seat. You see, that's what I'm talking about, where there was just one person, the one highest priest sits, who was sprinkling blood on the master seat. Now the liquidity pool is precisely that place where you are right now. And where do you find that liquidity pool? You find it in your phone, the very cell phone you're holding. How do you get there? How do you get into the liquidity pool? First, you need to have a wallet. And we have all talked about having wallets. And these wallets have been made by men and women like you, who are concerned about giving people access so that you can have utmost inclusion. So one is that you get a wallet like MetaMask, okay? So if you do not know how to do these things, you better ask Dolphy. She's gonna teach you how to do that. MetaMask wallet, or even Trust Wallet. But then you need to know about wallets and what they are all about, so that the wallet has got two keys, a public key and private key, okay? Learn about those keys, because the public key, it's public, it can be shared. That is what you share with people when you want them to send you money. Or that's what you use to send money to other people. The private key is secret. That's why it's called private. The private key, you don't even see it yourself. Your phone knows it. It's actually created by your phone, your own phone. Not anybody else's phone. The private key is manufactured by your own cell phone in the wallet. And then it gives you a small set of numbers and letters, words, which are known as what? The mnemonic code and the mnemonic phrase, or seed phrase. People call it different things: seed phrase, mnemonic phrase, or just, it's like a password. It's not a password, it's multiple words. It's a phrase, different words, about 12 of them. In some wallets, they give you 24. Now that is very hot material. It's not hot because it's high temperature. It's hot because it gives direct access to your wallet. So that small phrase, you have to save it somewhere very, very secret. And when you what you're saying somewhere very secret and very safe for you, it is not on the internet. Don't save it in your email. Duh. You know your email can be hacked anytime. Don't even save it into your Google Drive, because your Google Drive is linked to your email. Okay. Don't save it on your laptop, in your computer. Somebody can log in there anytime when you're not around. Do not even save it in your phone. Yeah. Because of all these things, write it on a piece of paper, which you can keep somewhere. You can even go and laminate that paper the way you laminate your ID. And then you go and lock it somewhere in a lockbox, which is not accessible to anybody. Or you hide it somewhere, you hide important things. Okay, that is your passcode. You want to save it very, very well. When you have that, then you are ready to receive Actuate tokens. Of course, Actuate tokens, because the token itself is your pathway into the liquidity pools. When you have Actuate token now, to create a pool, you have to obtain another token, such as Ethereum token, BNB token, or even Bitcoin, USDT, USDC, whatever else. So you can create something called a token pair. Token pair, when you tie those two tokens together, now the technology that is known as the DeFi platform, such as Uniswap, it helps you to create a token pair. It helps you to tie two tokens together. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to report to you so that you understand that a token pair is what in English is called liquidity. Is that amazing? Two tokens, once you tie two tokens together, you obtain something called liquidity. The tokens become liquid because they are tied together. Liquid, what does liquid mean? It means that it can be used as a currency. Liquid means that it has got the power to move, just like water. When water is liquid, imagine you have water in its solid format, which is ice, and you're expecting that water downstream. What do you have to do? You turn up the temperature on the water, you heat the water or the ice itself so that it melts, so that it can start flowing. So to provide the flow, so the actual token by itself has no flow. It cannot flow like a water. It's not liquid. Actuate itself on its own is not liquid. If you want your actual tokens to become liquid, you have to tie them up with another token. See, this is because it helps now people to participate. So you can receive actual tokens, but then it's very, very important to tie the actual token with another token like BNB or USDT or Ether or whatever token you want, so that actual token stays liquid. And so to do that, you're given incentive to provide liquidity. You earn. So the decentralized finance system like PancakeSwap will be giving you money. Every time there's a transaction in that liquidity pool, you earn a small percentage. But the value, the amount of money you earn is relative to the amount of liquidity you have provided. For example, if you provide one actual token for liquidity, and somebody else provides 10 actual token, so you can only earn 10% of any transaction in that pool. So it means that when you provide liquidity, that you're kind of volunteering your tokens to participate in building liquidity. But even when you do that, the genius of this whole thing is that when you provide your tokens or you volunteer your tokens to provide liquidity, those tokens are still yours. They are still inside your wallet. Is that crazy? The tokens are inside your wallet. but they're actually earning you money because they're also in the liquidity pool. That has only happened in what? In the information system. Because the token can be in two places at the same time. How is that possible? The token is inside your wallet at the same time it is inside the liquidity pool. Yeah? Because the tokens is a piece of information. So that information is being reflected. It's like when you if you turn up the lights, you switch on the light, you can have and you have a window, and the window goes to another room. Somebody in the other room can use the lights that you have turned on in your own room. See that? All you have to do is open the window. And what's amazing, when you have opened your window and the light is going on to the other room, so the person living in the other room is paying you some money for using your light. Yeah, how about that? Imagine now in your apartment, where you live, you have a neighbor, and the neighbor is he doesn't have money to enough money to actually get the light installed, but then you can make a window through your wall, a big window, that when you turn on the light in your house, in your apartment, the light appears, the light also shines in the other person's apartment or in the living room. So you can just put a glass, that's a thin glass that the light can go through on the other side. And because the light is on the other person's living room as well, that person can give you a small percentage of money because of using your light. Right? And so if you have many people who are contributing like that person is surrounded by many neighbors, several neighbors, and all the neighbors are turning on the light, and there's going to be a lot of light in that person's living room because surrounded by several houses that are illuminating the room itself. Meanwhile, everybody has got his light in his own apartment. So the light has not gone anywhere. It is still in your own apartment. You're going to have that light whether you share it with other people or not. But when you share it with other people, you get paid. And that is the magic of liquidity pools, that you pull resources together. But these resources, even when you're saying you pull them together, they have not left your presence. They're still yours. Because why is this possible? Why is this possible? Why this is possible to do that is because the technology that we use for creating liquidity pools, or of course called the information technology or information tech, is based on the science of information, which depends on the principles of light. Light is like a spirit. It's based on the principle of light. So light is not a physical object. Like you can say, like the way we have cash system. Cash system is where you have 1 shilling. And if you deposit your shillings in Kenya Commercial Bank, you cannot also deposit them in Equity Bank. That's the problem of the physical world, known as world of Caesar. That's Caesar's world. When you have your shillings in Kenya Commercial Bank, they cannot also be in Equity Bank at the same time. But what I'm telling you today, with the money, cryptocurrency, money built by light, you can have money in one location and they're also in another location at the same time, because they're built on the technology of light. Because it's possible for the light to diffuse itself in different spaces at the same time without reducing the value of the light that you have in the original state. Can you believe that? Isn't that wild? It's really crazy. For example, the way you see, like what you're doing today on Zoom, because Zoom is built on information technology. It means that we can be in the same meeting without being in the same room. That's the fact that I'm in my house does not mean we cannot have a meeting if you're in a different house. I hope you're getting that. This can have shared the experience without being in the same place, and even without taking the experience of the original place out of the system. So it's like having both of the things together. And that's why you want to understand the science of liquidity pools. You really want to understand it, because it's true freedom of finance, that you will be having your money within the liquidity pool, but that money is also in your wallet. I hope you have understood that whole idea. And it's very powerful. Now, for women, that is really, really powerful state, because what has been a big problem with this traditional finance is that the traditional finance is administered through physical location, like banks. That it requires logistics. Like you have to travel there, you have to go and line up, you have to go with nice shoes, you have to be well dressed, so that when the bank manager looks at you, say, "Oh, this is why they're opening a wallet, opening an account here." Let me tell you, to open a wallet on the decentralized finance, to get a wallet from MetaMask, you don't even need to wear your shoes. You don't need to have your shoes on. You don't just get out of bed and say, "Okay, can I go to where's my phone? Yeah, let me go to the net and look for MetaMask wallet." You download the wallet even without shoes. You don't even need to wear your lipstick. You don't need to dress up. That's what I'm saying. You don't have to impress anyone. You don't even need to carry your ID, like show the people. You don't even need to come with your brother or with your husband or with your uncle to provide a male co-signer. See, that's what I'm talking about. You can do this without even having a new hairdo that you have to go through the salon, so you can get some new hairstyle, so that the bank people might just get a good impression, because it's the impression. Even today, 2024, bankers are still looking at those things, So that is what decentralized finance has done. It has taken out all that gunk. You can call it gunk, the things that's called human perception. Because opening a bank account is about human perception, the way other humans perceive you. Yeah. And so that whole thing goes away. Doesn't matter what people think, what people say, what they do, how they're dressed. It doesn't matter. I say, you don't care. Just get out. Just get out of bed. You're sitting in your living room. Go online. Download the wallet. Install a wallet. No questions asked. And that's the way it should be. And that's the way it is. Ladies and gentlemen, it is written in the Holy Scriptures, the curtain of the temple has been split wide open. Now, for you, when the curtain is split wide open, there's nobody who is holding you back to enter into the Holy of Holies and do your own supplication. That means you don't wait for the high priest to perform some they call ordinances. You don't need for that one to perform things for you, to slaughter a bull or a goat and sprinkle some blood on the mercy seat so that you can gain access. No, that means that you do not need the intermediary who is a banker. You don't need an investment banker. You only need yourself. I think that is a very frightening position, where people are accustomed to believe that they need an intermediary to intercede for you. No, you do not need any of those things. And that's really, really powerful. So what I want to ask of you, open wallet, get your wallet. I think everybody has got a wallet. Go to a PancakeSwap or place like that, or SushiSwap. Learn how to build liquidity pools. So be one of them who participate in creating liquidity, so that capital, which is not, it's usually called dead capital. Capital is dead when it's not liquid. illiquid capital is dead capital. What is illiquid capital? Illiquid capital is in a format of commodities that you cannot exchange. It's not exchangeable. So when capital becomes liquid, then becomes exchangeable, or the value that you produce every day. When the value produced every day becomes liquid, it means that it's exchangeable. So the value of womanhood, the value of motherhood is totally illiquid. Okay? So women produce a lot of capital by the nature of the work they do. Whether it's being mothers, whether it's it's being sisters, whatever, they provide a lot of value to the society. But that value, you don't find it in balance sheet. And that means if it's not in balance sheet, that value is not represented, and that means it's dead capital. So dead capital can become live through the liquidity pools by pairing it with our tokens. It becomes liquid capital. And we have talked a lot about how we transmutate the dead capital, that's all the value of the work produced by the women over the past 1 year. So I believe by now everyone has understood that. If you do not understand that, if you have not understood that, first of all, come to the summit, because that's going to be the conversation of the summit. It's about ultimately, it's about liquidity, how people create liquidity or form capital to or make their capital live, so that the capital that they are producing every day, that means the value of the work that they're producing every day, is well represented in the market. It appears in the balance sheet, and that way they can actually exchange that value. Being able to exchange value is what liquidity is all about. Okay, so I hope we have beaten that horse sufficiently. You have understood that material, and make sure that you watch this video many times so you get that, and then come to the summit. So that by the time you come into the summit, you know the language, you know what to talk. But meanwhile, before the summit, because the summit now is exactly 7 days, what you do is that you go to our website, actuate.bio, www.actuate.bio, find a video on how to create liquidity pool. Yes, find that video. And I think, Dolphin, you can also post the link to that video here on, or maybe in the Actuate, the WhatsApp group on Actuate, African Women in Decentralized Finance. All right. Thank you so much, Dolphin, and thank you, Matthew. And back to you, Dolphin.
Okay, thank you, Dr. for the insight, for those insight on the decentralized finance. Yeah, and I believe everyone will be creating liquidity pools. So if you have any questions or any additional comments you'd like to make, feel free. Meanwhile, let me give you some updates. Yeah, I know by now you all know that our summit will be taking place via virtual. This is to ensure that there is a greater accessibility and inclusivity for everyone. So the virtual format will feature the same lineup of speakers, panels, and also networking opportunities. And also we have shared the link to the virtual platform. Yeah, I believe each and everyone have seen. Yeah, it has been posted on our respective groups from day 1 to day 4. The link to the YouTube, so kindly check. Yeah, and I look forward to seeing everyone to the virtual. Yeah, the virtual. And if you have any question regarding also the summit, yeah, feel free to ask. Doctor, do you have anything to add about the summit?
About the summit. Yes, Dolphin,
Yeah.
thank you. So as you have all heard, now the summit is going to be fully virtual, 100%. 100%. And this has been occasioned by something called public demand. Public demand, public means people like yourself, who is here. Apparently, people want to attend the summit virtually. They didn't say that from the beginning. So we have been working thinking that they want to come to the amphitheater, but they were not saying, like it's Kenyan not willing to express themselves. But eventually when we called many people, they're saying, oh, why don't you do this thing virtually? Why don't you see? Then eventually virtual it is. And I think it's a good solution. Number one is that the virtual summit is decentralized because it's not in a central location like what we were talking about, amphitheater at KU. That's a centralized location. Then decentralized finance is decentralized. So you can see the virtual summit and decentralized finance become congruent. So it just makes sense, even from philosophical standpoint. Decentralized summit for decentralized finance. Yeah, you want to say that. Decentralized summit for decentralized finance. See, just all those things, positive things we have said about decentralized finance, they also work now for decentralized summit. And see, it's on the information system. And I've told you, information system allows you to be in two places at the same time, to be in the summit and to be in your house. Okay? Just like we talked about liquid pools. So not to use that, we would have missed the point in a very big way. It would have been tragic for us to have a centralized summit to talk about decentralized finance. That is what you call adventure in missing the point or getting lost in the wilderness. That is a total adventure in missing the point. Because the point is we're talking about decentralized finance, then why don't we go decentralized all the way? Which is why we have decentralized finance. And of course, decentralized summit is inclusive, just like we talk about using decentralized finance for inclusion. Decentralized finance is decentralized summit is absolute inclusion, meaning that it's possible now to gain participation of everybody, everywhere there is, without the overhead of the logic, of the logical problems hanging over, the costs of transportation, the costs of accommodation, and the cost of what people are going to eat. Because if you're in your house, you cook your own food. So all those logistic overheads, they just disappear, just vanish. Okay, then the decentralized summit is much more effective because it's able to include a lot more people, a large number of people, and then it's easy to distribute through the information system, through YouTube, LinkedIn, X Spaces, in Facebook and such places. So instead of having only a few hundred people in a room, then you have hundreds of thousands of people. That's point number two. Then all the summit proceedings are going to be captured on video, because when you distribute them through YouTube, YouTube is going to upload them on video right away. And so not only are they going to be available during the summit, they'll be available even after the summit for many moons after that. That could be years, even 10 years. YouTube is not going to delete them unless we delete them. Why would we want to delete them? There's no reason. So conference proceedings get captured and live and they live forever and ever, so that if you miss something, you can always go back and listen. So remember, what is the purpose of the summit? We want you to understand very well, so that by the time you come in there, you're coming with a mind of understanding what are these people, what are we talking about, why are we here? question. Why are we here? Why the summit? Remember, the summit, you understand it from its own theme, using decentralized finance for health and human development. Okay, now health and human development, what will make that to occur is called capital formation. Forming capital, that means raising money or putting money together. So capital formation in decentralized finance is what's called liquidity pools. Okay, so ultimately, the summit itself, why we are there at the summit is to understand how we create liquidity through liquidity pools. Well, how to create liquidity is already understood because we have places like PancakeSwap, we have places like Uniswap. All you have to do now is understand, and what the summit would like people to understand is how do they use PancakeSwap effectively to form capital to fund human development or to fund translation science, so we can use the capital formed already to finance a translation and commercialization of biomedicines, so that we can manufacture our own medications or medicines in Africa. We can manufacture our own medical devices. See? And how can we form capital to fund environmental health? How can we understand how we live with animals, how we engage with the environment, how the economy plays a role in environmental health, how to make the environmental health sustainable. Talk about sustainability. How can we form capital for sustainability? And we're talking about, now the ultimate question is, how do we use liquidity pools? How do we provide liquidity? And for that, people have to understand what are liquidity pools. This is why if you're here today, you want to be in the summit, you'll be teaching people and you want to be teaching people in your community, what is a liquidity pool? How does it work? How do you use Actuate token, and how do you pay Actuate token with BNB, for example, to produce liquidity? Because when you pair two tokens together, you produce something called liquidity. It's like when a couple meets together, man and woman, they produce a baby. The baby of pairing two tokens together is what is called liquidity. And that is the ultimate answer to the summit question itself. How can we use decentralized finance and artificial intelligence for health and human development? The answer is, how do we pair two tokens together to produce liquidity? And with which tokens are we talking about? The tokens we're talking about is Actuate itself and any other token of choice you want. You can choose USDT, BNB, Bitcoin, whichever you want. Yeah, Ethereum, Silo token, or USDC, whatever, ever token you want to choose. You pair it with the actual token. You see, so by the end of the summit, then, by the fourth day of the summit, everybody must have understood that process. Lest we can be talking about all the things that are happening. If we do not know how to form capital, that is what's called adventure in missing a point. It is all talk, but no capital. Which, James in the Bible, James in the Bible called that cloud without rain. Clouds without rain. So you can see clouds forming, so much clouds, but then it's not raining. You cannot, even if you plant the crops, they are not going to germinate because there's no water. So in order for the clouds to produce rain, everyone has to understand how to create a liquidity pool. Okay, that is when the rain begins to pour, and when it rains, it pours. So I just want you to prepare yourself mentally in that. You want to be very, very ready, not just for the summit, because it's the new economy, the economy of information. As we have said, the economy of information is so distinctly different from that old economy, which sharing was looking like giving away something. Now we're talking about where you're sharing your light, so you can all create a lot of light together. Okay? That is sharing your tokens. And these tokens, they're not leaving your wallet. They're not going anywhere. They're still in your wallet, but they're in the liquidity pool. How beautiful is that? Now that's really it's the message we want the summit to pass. You see, that's really a very difficult message for people who are in a traditional system, even people who are in mid-career professionals or even advanced career professionals, been working for 30, 40 years. It's very, very difficult for them to get there. So we want to make sure that by the end of the day, that not only the young professionals, even mid-career professionals, and even the advanced career professionals, they all understand this new science, the new science of sharing, the new science of light. It's called the science of disequilibrium, the new mathematics of communication. You understand that? So it's going to be very beautiful. By the way, there's going to be a lot of interesting presentations. And so you don't want to miss any of those. And with very high profile professionals from all cadres of professional disciplines. So very, very exciting and very engaging. But then we have one thing we have to take through the 4 days of the summit, we have the one thing we want to make sure that we get through it. First of all, on the very first day is a day of imagining the future we truly want, what we all desire, what we hope for, that thing that we hope for to achieve. The second day, we talk about the challenges we are facing today that are preventing us from getting to that thing that we would desire in all our walks of life. And then on the third day, we create a roadmap to get there. And I can tell you, what we desire is to have sufficient liquidity in your pocket. You need to have enough money to spend. That's what's called liquid. You need to have currency. You need to be current in your pocket. So that when you want to go and buy bread, you can buy bread. Yeah, if you go to the hospital, you can afford to pay for healthcare. That's being current. So that currency relies on liquidity. Because water is that it's not liquid, cannot flow like current, like current. Water flows because it is liquid. Flowing is currency. That's what currency means. It means flowing. It has got the characteristics of flowing. So we want to make sure we understand that principle. I can tell you this science has been hidden from us, people in Africa, for the longest time. But of course, you know, by all those people who are the high priests of finance, who have kept the understanding of finance away from us. So we do not know that capital is actually formed. Money, the markets are made. Markets are made by providing liquidity. So it has been just the job of a few, you know, high priests who are up there, who are together, you know, korogaing for us. But the capital is should be formed by everybody. Everybody should participate in forming capital so that they can become current and they can afford to pay for things that matter to them. So that's what the summit is going to be about. Very, very exciting. And it's now totally decentralized, totally in alignment with decentralized finance. Okay, so that's what I would like to add about that, Ms. Dolphin.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. for that, for those addition. Yeah, and I hope everyone has fully understood. Yeah, for more information, you can go check out on our website. Yeah. So, thank you everyone for joining us. Today. Thank you, Matthew, for the topic, and also thank you, Dr. for taking your time for being here and then sharing your knowledge with us and also your insight. So I've just shared the link to the form, to the attendance form. Yeah, I'll give you 5 minutes to fill the form and then I'll close the form. So thank you, everyone. You have a lovely evening ahead, and also Daktari, have a lovely day ahead. The meeting is adjourned.